Warning. The topics discussed on this podcast are subject to adult themes and languages. We seek to unravel the unexplained and unknown. This is Encounters.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Encounters. My name's Dakota.
I'm Amanda.
And this is our Season 4 in review.
Yay!
So, we haven't done one of these since Season 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we skipped Season 3. It may have been Season 3, I don't know. But you know what? We're bringing it back to you because we love this. And it's a great way to end cap a season. And we'll talk about some of our favorite things from Season 4, some reminders, drop in a little audio hints, and springboard into what Season 5 has in store.
Yes. Oh, this is so exciting. Yeah, when Dakota came up with this idea, or talked to me about it, I was really, really stoked. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. We got a lot of episodes.
Oh. Go ahead. Got a lot of episodes. What?
I was going to say to cover. Nothing.
So Season 4 had 17 episodes. This being the 18th, technically. So we have 18 episodes. Oh shit. Oh no. Adobe, remind me later. Why would you interrupt this recording, Adobe? So, 17 episodes. You know, Amanda and I, we like to break it down. We like to do a couple of haunting episodes, a couple of legends, a couple of cryptids, aliens, and then we introduced here recently with our mistress of conspiracies, our secret society conspiracy episodes. But out of these 17 episodes, we focused the most on hauntings and aliens.
Yeah, we were a little more adventurous this time in the things we kind of covered outside of cryptids. I didn't even realize we hadn't really talked about cryptids in a good long while.
We did cover cryptids this season. It was just more in the idea and gaze of urban legends and demonology.
Yeah.
Some of our more intriguing cryptid episodes this season were the Banshee origin story, the Black-Eyed Children Revisited, which we'll get into in a bit. We'll come back to that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the Sewer Gator.
Yeah, the Sewer Gator. As well as the Demonology 102 ABCs with Azazel, Beelzebub, Kame, and Dandelion. And Demonology Revisited Ladies' Night with Lilith, Abuzo, and the Impusa. That's one thing I do remember specifically about Ladies' Night, was that there were very little female demons. And even if the demon was technically female, they had a male form at some point. And
right.
King Solomon was like, nah, evil men. Which, true.
Yeah, so true.
Very true.
Oh, we also have the, urban legends creepy crawlies. I know those are bugs, but...
Ooh, you know what? We should drop one or two of the creepy crawly stories here into this. I don't remember which ones we did, but there's a good one in there somewhere. I think there's one about... Ooh, no. All I can think about is the story about the lady that had the cockroaches in her vagina. That was the story.
Not... Yeah, that was not a personal story. It didn't happen to me. But someone told me that story personally. Golly.
Traumatized.
I know, that was that I think about it just once in a while. That just pops back into my head sometimes, and I'm like, is that story true? I guess I'm gonna have to drop it in now because we're having a whole conversation about it.
But the other one, and I don't know if you can use this one, but at church, this woman was a nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she told a story about this woman who had come into the ER. I guess she had decided to do her thing with a bottle, like a glass bottle outside in the like in a parking lot or something, and she like came to the ER with like pain, like cramping pain, and she said when they like examined her, there was cockroaches. Like cockroaches had like laid eggs in her, and like they opened it, and they came, they came crawling out of this woman's vajayjay.
Ah! No! Oh my god! I just like imagine Men in Black, like when they're fighting that big cockroach man, and like Will Smith is just like, "Oh, was that your grandma? Oh, was that your daddy?" And I just imagine like the doctor doing that as these things come flooding out of this woman's vajayjay.
Oh my god.
That's another thing. We did a lot of urban legend profiles. This is one of the things we had started early on during season 2 and season 3 when we started covering like La Lorna and Bloody Mary, as well as I think we covered the Candyman, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or was that just in our Halloween origin story?
Oh, that was in our Halloween origin story, but personally, like, I really am obsessed with like urban legends. I just always found them really, really fascinating. So it was something that we kind of started doing, and it, for us, like, kind of took off. Because when you, like, break them down and see where they're coming from, they're really just super interesting.
Oh, and traumatizing. I mean, 2 of the ones that we did back to back, we did the roommates and the babysitter.
Oh, I know. Both so violent and bloody. And, like, I know the babysitter had, like, almost like a true event that kind of sparked it. When it comes to the roommates, I don't remember exactly, but I know that was more of like the fear of the parents of teenagers like going off to college. And
the
like
fear of the unknown. My baby boy is gonna be corrupted. Actually, it was more drawn towards the females, wasn't it?
Females, yeah, exactly. Because it was 2 female roommates. And like one was out like studying or something. And they came back and grabbed something and didn't turn on the lights. And they're like, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights or we would murder you too, bitch?" They didn't say all that.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that was a bit much. That's kind of like The Conjuring 3, the devil made me do it, but he didn't really make me do it. It was the Warrens. But
yes. Which, side note, because this wasn't, we did this back, I think, in season 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Did you ever go see that movie?
Yes, it came to Shudder, I believe.
Oh, is it on Shudder?
Yeah. Which, if y'all don't have Shudder, come on now, get Shudder. This is one of the best things in the world. I'm about to cancel it because Dragula's over, but you should get Shudder because we want Shudder to sponsor us.
Yeah, I know. I've been meaning to get. Oh, anyway,
The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I live for the Conjuring movies though because I feel like they're the best adaptation of Ed and Lorraine Warren's life. Like, not in a realistic point of view, but in a hyper-realized telenovela kind of point of view. It's like how they wish their life looked. And I really appreciate that. The whole Conjuring universe is just one of absolute delight to me, even though it is tragic stories they're telling. And lies. And mostly lies.
Mostly lies, actually. Very much lying. Like...
Well, and I'm not even saying it's lies because of the Warrens or it's lies because of this, that, and the other. It's just highly fictionalized versions of the events that are based in reality.
Yeah.
From Annabelle to the Perron family to the Devil Made Me Do It case. What makes us terrified of them is that someone says this is real, but the Conjuring universe has lifted itself out of the reality of these stories to give you something that is spooky. And I think we can really blame that on Paranormal Activity, as much as we like to joke about Paranormal Activity.
Oh, no, not Paranormal Activity. I think Insidious is the reason it got really turned in this different direction. Because when it comes to, like, the nun and even, like, Annabelle, like, the real story of Annabelle is in the first few minutes of the first Conjuring, the real story. But, the one that kind of is traveled around on the internet and, like, told. That's the first, like, couple of scenes in the first Conjuring movie. They have now made this entire reality out of this fucking doll now. Like, that has nothing to even do with the Warrens at this point. It's just, like, taken on a whole life of its own.
Yeah, but that speaks to a bigger context, and I think that we, as a culture, are obsessed with demonic dolls. Be they Annabelle, be they Robert the Doll, be they Chucky, who has a wonderful miniseries that I think is on AMC, or is it on Sci-Fi?
Sci-Fi? I know it's on Sci-Fi.
It's so cute. And I never thought I would be saying that about a Child's Play. I'm gonna say we're definitely obsessed with demonic dolls. And I think that speaks to why Annabelle is such a very important thing. And Valak, which is the nun, I believe, right? She's got 3 movies now.
Yeah. Well, did she pop up during the, like, second Conjuring movie? That was, what was that? The British Poltergeist.
That was Edinburgh. That was the second movie.
Yeah.
But it was the sisters that were poltergeisting.
Yeah. Yeah, but that nun shows up in that. The nun was never fucking part of that story. Neither were the Warrens.
Well, the Warrens were, but not as much as, like the heroes. But to be fair, depending on whose interpretation of the Warrens you're going with in that time, if you were going by the main guy who was there for most of those hauntings, he would say that this is exactly what the Warrens thought they were doing when they showed up.
Exactly. And that is not at all what they did.
But speaking of the Warrens, that leads me into one of my favorite episodes from this season, which we covered the Smurl family hauntings and demons, which was an Ed and Lorraine Warren case from 1986, where the Smurl family was living in West Pinston, Pennsylvania. They moved in the 70s, and they claimed that they were being disturbed by a demon that caused loud noises, bad odors, threw their dog into a wall, and sexually assaulted family members on several occasions.
Yeah.
This is... Amanda and I watched this. This was the most haunted episode.
Oh my god. That is the thing I remember the most about this story, which is unfortunate, I know. But I have never seen a more dramatic group of people. And we're, like... I'm even lumping that in with, like, the Ghost Adventurers guys. This group of people? Oh my god!
Well, don't forget it was made for TV movie, so that was why it was overly dramatic, telenovela style, even though we see that in The Conjuring as well nowadays.
Right. But, wow. I'm hoping that me and Dakota can do a reaction to this episode for our YouTube at some point, because... yeah, it's just, if it is to be believed, there's a lot of activity at this house that still is going on. So, like, it kind of puts more credibility to what, like, the family went through. But also, like, these people are so dramatic, and I just want everybody to see it.
Yeah, and I mean, in 1986, Ed and Lorraine Warren did actually investigate, and they came to the determination that there was a very powerful entity that could shake mirrors and move furniture and persuade people to leave by playing religious music and praying. The Warrens claimed to have felt the temperature drop and saw dark masses form in the home, and that the demon left a message on a mirror telling them to get out. This, I believe, is going to be the 4th Conjuring movie, so if you get to hear this before that, enjoy.
Right.
Definitely go back and listen to this. It was come to find out that the family had several different surgeries. The father himself had water on his brain removed in 83 that they say may have caused him to have tapped into the other side. Many priests came to this location and were like, there's nothing happening here. But somebody was sexually assaulted by a demon. So, suck on that, religion.
Oh my god, Dakota.
Maybe not the outro you want, but it's the outro we
want. Oh my god! Oh.
Amanda, what was one of your favorite episodes this season?
Personally, one of my favorite episodes that we did were the demonology episodes. Especially, like... it's hard for me to pick between the two we did, but I just find them so fascinating because it starts with generally, like, a god or something from a different religion or time, and then Christianity has turned them into demons. And especially when it comes to like Azazel, I remember him being like I remember so much information about both of them, Azazel and Beelzebub.
The Lord of Lies.
I picked the two like super complicated ones, but I just remember them just like learning their like past and their histories and like what they were kind of turned into within Christianity. I just found them both so fascinating. And the same with Lilith and that whole story.
Lilith is probably my favorite story that we had come out of the entirety of the demonology episodes this season. Especially with the idea that in Jewish mysticism, the Bible was, or the ancient story was not wrong. So laying with she and then laying with Eve is two different people, and who is she and how Lilith became the mother of monsters. It's beautiful, really. Female empowerment to the max.
Yeah, right? She's like, I just want to be on top, shit. But yeah, I just found the demonologies. I really, really always kind of enjoy jumping into those because that's just another thing that I always found fascinating growing up, which is such a weird thing for a kid to find fascinating, I'm sure. I never looked into it because I was always too scared, so being an adult now and like learning from it, it's really, really cool.
Let me see what this demon has to say. Can't get me.
I know. The spirits are going, y'all send some positive energy. Spirits are going after Dakota. Shit.
Pray for me.
What about you, Dakota? What's another one of your favorite episodes?
Another one of my favorite episodes probably had to be our Urban Legends Satanic Panic episode.
So true.
I really love the Satanic Panic, mainly because it affected me. Not specifically with my parents, because my parents were like, you want to read a book about witchcraft? Cool, here you go. My grandpa was like, you want to read a book about witchcraft? Read the Bible. Here, look at these magic spells. And I was going to be like, no, I want Harry Potter. Which now I'm like, oh God, give me something else. Anything. Golden Compass. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And D&D. I really liked the D&D elements that we went into because D&D is a major part of my life, and the Satanic Panic directly was an influence on the D&D culture of the 80s and 70s, so that was probably one of my favorite little episodes. And I think one of the best things to come out of the Urban Legend profiles is, I think that is what steered us into going towards Conspiracy Hour with Natalie, and I think those are some of the most fun episodes in the future.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say about the Satanic Panic, because I think that was a really interesting episode to jump into, because we were kind of seeing the same things kind of happening again, and like with certain aspects that I'm not really going to get into. So that was another reason we found it so interesting to kind of like look into what was happening back in the 90s and how it affected not only like the way people even ask children questions. I actually started a new job and I work at a sexual assault services, and during my orientation they actually talked about the Satanic Panic because they conduct interviews at my job where they interview children, like only like kind of like young kids, and they have to go through a whole course and learn how to ask questions so they're not leading the kids because of what happened during that time. So it's just really interesting and how it affected so much in the world, like so much in our world.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me that while we have the general public and populace worrying about the Satanic Panic, we also technically have projects like Project MK Ultra actually happening where Satan wasn't even the worst of your child's problems.
Oh yeah, I know, right? That was a really good episode. Like that was something that I've known about a little bit. Like I've heard about it here and there, but I never like looked into it. So those are always great to have like Natalie come in because she like lives for that shit. Like that's like one of the best things about her, because she just comes so prepared. And like that was scary. Like the things they did without our knowledge was really, really creepy.
Things they did. things they do, things that are yet to come. Yeah, no, and I mean, there's even more to come in the future with Natalie's episodes. I think we've talked about potentially doing a QAnon episode, discussing maybe the Colorado-Denver International Airport and its satanic ties. I think we're staying away from the big S for now.
I don't know what that means.
Scientology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we definitely wanted to do something with Disney, too.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for more episodes with Natalie. That should be fun.
But rounding out season 4, the majority was hauntings and aliens.
Yes.
Amanda, what was your favorite haunting ghost story that we told this season?
You know, one of them, it wasn't necessarily like my favorite in the sense of like, it's good, but I found it really almost like heartbreaking, but like important, was the Linda Vista.
Oh.
Because like, yeah, so much happened. There was just so much death and destruction there. And it's just almost like, not to be on a high horse by any stretch of the imagination, but like, I feel like it's an important story we're even telling, because it was just tragic. Like, people were known to go in there for something simple and like not survive. And there was just so much tragedy and so much, like, it couldn't not be haunted, if that makes sense.
Well, right. And then after all of this tragedy and trauma happens, like, boom, let's put old people here. We're going to put a retirement facility.
Yes.
Let's put a senior home here.
Right?
Hospice. Just unfair.
Right. So that was definitely
that's a good one. I had forgotten about Linda Vista. Holy hell.
Right. It was one of the first ones we did.
For me, I kind of have this like weird tie because I really like The Haunting of Zona Hestershoot, mainly because when that's the one where the lady was killed by her husband and she came back and told her mom that her husband killed her, and so that's the first official documentation on U.S. courts of a ghost testifying in the courtroom against a man. And he actually had murdered 3 other people and went to jail. Or, well, they killed him. They didn't go to jail. This was not the time for that. They straight up killed his ass.
Yeah.
And that one's fun, but I really think my favorite haunting story that didn't have to do with a demon was probably the haunted life and homes of Jean Harlow.
That was interesting.
That was really interesting. And I think it was more interesting because of the amount of background work I had to do to figure out what the hell was happening with these places. Yeah. But, like, haunted Hollywood in the 20s and 30s in that portion of the country is just dark.
Yeah.
It's very, very dark. I mean, this woman lived her entire life basically dying as her kidneys were shutting down, and she got piss breath.
Dakota fucking righteous. Why do you have to say it like
that? That's the truth, though.
I know
that
it's the
was what
truth.
got me to being interested in the entire story anyways. But her tragic life, her tragic death, her husband's tragic life and death, shooting his ass naked.
Right. But she was like 24 when she passed away?
I'm pretty sure, but that was old in them days.
Yeah, and her husband, that was an interesting. And then his ex-lover also died like the next day.
Yeah, it was like a trifecta. And I mean, Of course, we had the Hollywood executives wrapped up in it to make sure that nobody looked bad as it was going down. And of course, some people were like, he was in women's clothes and perfume and he was fucking men. But Jean looked fine.
Yeah.
Hollywood's first bombshell.
Right.
If you can drop in that story about her haunting here, that'd be perfect. It is said that her spirit haunts this home. Apparently, another family moved into the home, and when they moved in, their dogs were growling and barking at something in the upstairs room, and right outside the master bedroom, the mother of the family felt an unseen presence and heard,
"Please help me."
On their first night in the home, they saw the husband and wife were lying in bed when they saw a heavy unseen object strike their bed 3 times, and apparently the unseen presence asked them,
You're welcome. How do you do? We've got to get some sleep. We're very tired and need to get some sleep. So please let us be.
The family reported that the lights would go on and off in the kitchen by themselves, and that they were walking through the living room one time when they saw a strange, formless light, like with an outline, like a shadow person but made of light, floating through the ceiling. Lots of knocking and weird sensations, and the smell of perfume could be smelled in the children's bedroom upstairs. What was your favorite aliens?
Ooh, so this one I kind of have a tie for, because one is kind of because of the community that's been built around it, and that would be the Starborn sisters.
Yeah,
I remember they were getting like abducted, and like stuff was happening to them, and they made like a whole little Starborn community where they all like get together and talk to the visitors. But another one that I just really, really enjoyed and knew nothing about before starting this podcast was the Kelly Cahill. It was
yes, the abductions out in Sydney.
Yes, because there was actually like witnesses to this. There was a lot of like, at first there seemed like there was a lot of evidence, and then everything slowly just kind of started to fall apart when it came to the story. So it's just, when you're researching, when you're first getting into it, you're like, wow, this is like some like straight up proof. By the fucking way, I'm sorry, I watched Nope for the first time. Holy shit. Did you watch that yet?
Nope.
We're gonna have to talk after this. But
I'm willing to. I'm waiting for it to be on streaming.
It's on Peacock.
Oh, I think we have Peacock.
Okay, sorry. I'm probably gonna edit some of this out, but yeah, it was just like, there was just so much evidence at first, and then for it to all kind of like fall apart, to me, it was just really, really interesting.
Well, and that's what's interesting about Kelly's story, is that it wasn't that it fell apart so much as the people that witnessed the things never materialized. They said, hey, yeah, I saw the same thing, and then they were like, no, I didn't. And then her dick-ass husband, ex-husband, was like, nah, she's crazy. I don't know what she saw. And you're just like, okay, but Kelly's got these amazing drawings that were also replicated by the witnesses. So we have these things. We just slowly, people are like not wanting to be involved. And that is one of the things you see so many times in extraterrestrial involvement, is people don't want to come forward because they're fucking scared that people are going to be like, you're crazy, you didn't have this happen. And let me tell you, how many people are going up to people being like, yep, I was abducted, give me attention. This isn't Jerry Springer. This is in the 90s. Come on now.
Right, exactly. And with that report never coming out either, that had a lot to do with what you're saying, because they all started recanting their stories. Yep. But there was other evidence involved that just kind of, I can't remember everything, but I just remember it not coming together. And then she kind of just went off the radar too. Luckily, Kelly is not her like actual name, so she was able to kind of go off into the shadows. But yeah, those are the two that really kind of stick with me.
My favorite has to be Communion by Whitley Strieber. Or Stryber. Strieber, as we have been corrected on YouTube again and again. And you know what? Here it is. Strieber. I apologize.
I like Stryber better, but I don't know. But yes, that one.
We were told it was Strieber like Bieber.
Yes.
And that story, oh my God. Christopher Walken smoking weed with the fucking visitors. Mwah. Chef kiss. If you have not seen that movie, you need to get on Amazon Prime. You need to watch it. It is chef's kiss. Wild. Absolutely absurd. More guns in an alien film than are in the book. I don't understand how Christopher Walken got this much artistic control on it, but it was genius. It is probably one of the best, most well-known Alien Encounters books, I think. I don't know. The image of the book cover is what I think of when I think of extraterrestrials.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
It's absolutely insane. It is bonkers cocoa bananas. I have never been able to tie so many lines to a single thing. I felt like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with my board of crazy.
He had a lot going on.
He had so much going on. So much so that Christopher Walken was like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to fucking and then do a weed scene with them and be like, hey, it's fine, man. Smoke this. I can't even explain to you how crazy the movie is, let alone how wild the book is. So if you've never had the chance, go watch our episode or go listen to our episode and then go watch the movie and read the book, because wild, true story with the visitors.
Yes.
I guess another thing we did this season was Amanda and I went out to Roswell. Speaking of the visitors.
Yes.
We made a trip out to Roswell for our first, major paranormal dark tourism. We stayed at the Roswell Inn. That was really fun.
That was super cute. Except for that bitch talking very early in the morning. I'm sorry.
We went and saw the sign at night. We went to the Roswell Museum.
That was so fun.
It was dope as hell.
Yeah, it's best $7 of my life.
And, my God, we got to we took pictures with the visitors. We got to experience the crash in Arizona. No, it wasn't in Arizona, in New Mexico. We got to experience the crash in New Mexico.
Which was so cute. Dakota.
Oh no, lightning.
Oh no, that was the simulation. I guess I forgot. I was going to say the story about when Nathan went up and got the lady for us so we could see the little show.
Oh, that was fun. That was really fun. I always appreciate Nathan. He is not afraid to be like, hey, can you turn this on?
That was really cute. They have a little thing. It's at the top of every hour, but he went and got it for us. A really cool thing about the Roswell Museum was their research center. That thing was huge.
Holy hell, yes. And absolutely well documented. You could get the entire story walking through the museum and not like, oh, I have to know what's going on. They've got bullet points. They've got videos that play and tell you the story. It is so well put out there.
Yeah.
I was very impressed. Everything else felt like a tourist trap. And then you got outside of downtown and they were like, get the hell out of my city.
Right. We went to a UFO McDonald's. That was fun.
That was a McDonald's that was shaped weird.
It was shaped
the
like a
aliens
UFO.
outside were fun.
Yeah. And it was shiny.
Dunkin' Donuts with the giant alien.
That was nice. Yeah, they gave us a bunch of stuff.
It was great. The people were great. The Goodwill was not great.
Yeah. We should actually have a video coming out about everything we did. So once again, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, it's /encounters.
Paranormal EXP.
Paranormal EXP. Yes, thank you. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. That was a good time.
Absolutely.
Is there any other episodes you wanted to talk about, Dakota?
Oh, yeah. No, probably the number one episode on my list for this season was our Black Eyed Children Revisited.
Yes.
It is the perfect melding of alien and cryptid, as well as just being a good-ass return to Encounters format of talking about spooky stories and creepy children.
Yes, that was one of my favorite episodes too. I put a lot of sound effects in that bitch. That was so much fun. I might actually drop one of the stories in right here.
Reddit user No Sleep Trash. Last night was like any other night. I was switching between listening to music and watching YouTube videos with one headphone in so I could hear my infant daughter if she cries. That way my wife can get a full night's sleep. She works 4 a.m. to the hospital every day. When I decided to go lay down in a spare room in the baby's room, just as I dozed off, I started to hear a thumping coming from the front porch. Startled at first, I opened my eyes wide to scan the room. Realizing it was most likely my cat scratching himself on the front porch, I dozed back off. Then again, the thumping. Damn cat. I got out of bed, run him off the porch, only to see he wasn't there anymore. Now that I was up again, I wasn't the least bit tired. I figured I'll just get some tea, check Facebook while I'm up, maybe finish the web series I was watching on YouTube. A few minutes into the video, I felt the sudden urge to look up at the kitchen window. There they were. The tops of two short-statured people's heads cresting the stairs just above my window frame. The people were short enough not to see in the window, but I could see out. I heard no footsteps on my porch as my stomach turned. But the knock was steady, hollow, and thumping. The very same thump I had just blamed on my cat. Decided it was best not to answer, I shut my laptop and crept to the door back to the baby's room. I assumed it was just some people from the low-income housing across the road from me that were high or hiding from the cops, or maybe looking for my cousin who stays with me often and has many friends over there. The last thing I needed was to try and explain to two stoners that I was trying to sleep, even though it was 2 a.m. It wasn't until I got to my daughter's room that the creepiness set in. The thump had moved from the kitchen to the bedroom windows. Both windows, a room apart, thumping in perfect time. These stoners were going to wake my daughter up if I didn't run them off now. Pissed off, I went down to the kitchen, unlocked, and opened the door, ready to run off to the side of the house and kick some little idiot's ass. It happened then. Standing there, looking up at me, were two 10 or 11-year-old boys. The feeling of dread and the smell of mold almost made me vomit. The smaller of the two then spoke.
May we use your telegraph?
Huh? I just stared blankly at the boys, horrified, and then I realized their eyes were pitch black. He asked me, again, to use my
telegraph?
There wasn't a sound to be heard, no crickets chirping, no dogs barking, no cars driving by, nothing. I tried to play it cool and ignore the fact that he didn't say telephone or phone or cell, anything that would have made sense of the situation, and calmly I replied, I don't have service at my house, sorry. Their expression on their faces turned to rage as I finished my sentence. Swiftly, I shut the door and locked it as quickly as I could, and then stumbled back to protect my daughter. I picked her up from the crib and held her close. The fact that she didn't wake up freaked me out the most, but I managed to gather my senses enough to make sure she was still breathing and warm. Everything seemed okay with her. The thumping on the windows was back, and I dropped to the floor as close to the wall as I could and wept like a child. I felt helpless and afraid. I lay there for what felt like hours and hours, crying and shaking until I heard it. My wife's alarm clock. The thumping stopped. The instant the alarm went off, and I crept into the master bedroom with the baby. What's wrong with you? My wife asked. I just had a bad dream, is all I could mutter out. Okay, well, give me the baby so I can feed her before work. I handed my wife the baby, and she fed her like any normal day. I turned on every light in the house and made coffee for her. For some reason, just having her awake calmed my nerves enough to pretend like nothing had happened. And then they go in to describe how they're now terrified and don't want to sleep anywhere in their house anymore, and that they weren't aware of black-eyed children encounters until now, and now they are terrified, afraid, and feel alone. It says, at the very end of this is the most terrifying part. Every story I've read about them is from someone who already knows about them. Maybe, just maybe, knowledge of them existing is the only reason they visit. I'm afraid, and I'm sorry.
I'm going to do the second one. So if you want to, clear up that YouTube comment, do you want to say anything to Nick?
Oh, okay. So we got a YouTube comment about the second story. What was it? I'm getting to it. Give me a second. 11 days ago. There was a flaw in that second story. He said knowing of their existence causes encounters, but previously says they didn't know of black-eyed children. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your engagement. I didn't say these people were geniuses, but they definitely wrote about seeing children with black eyes. I do, but here's the thing. This comment is valid. But also, how do you know it's a black-eyed child until you research? I mean, like, I guess obviously in this situation, it would be, oh, that child has black eyes. I guess that's a black-eyed child. But you wouldn't immediately be like, oh, that's an alien. It's just like if a skinwalker was walking around outside. You not speaking about them doesn't mean they don't exist or don't have magical propensity. It just means that if you speak about them, they know you exist and they can come for you. Like, just because you don't believe in black-eyed children or don't know about black-eyed children doesn't mean
they can't pop up on your ass.
They don't exist. Like, who knew about black-eyed children? But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that either because they say having knowledge of black-eyed children may bring on encounters, but that's also anything. They say you speak about skinwalkers, you're going to run into a skinwalker. We talked about Men in Black, and suddenly we started having weird-ass people watching us or strange knocking happening, or even weird interference on our microphones. So, is it coincidence? Is it real? Or is it the visitors? Who knows?
Who knows?
But thank you for your engagement. We really do appreciate it. It was a flaw, and we acknowledge that flaw. Flaw accepted.
But yeah, that was a really fun episode.
It was.
I like when we get to sit and kind of like tell some stories. That's always fun for me.
So what do you see for us in season 5, Amanda?
We already been talking about doing some more cryptid stuff. We're starting season 5 with Stranger Things, Monsters versus Reality.
Yep.
It's not a traditional versus though. I don't think we're doing verses, right?
No, that one's not really verses. It's more like Mind Flayer meet Chupacabra. No, it's kind of like what in their reality would they be? We'll discuss how the elements from Stranger Things mix with the elements of D&D and what we could see in the real world as a cryptid for that. But I would like us to get back to more cryptid 101s, cryptid verses. Where Amanda picks a monster, I pick a monster, and we see whose monster can whip each other's ass.
Amanda's, because she always wins.
All right, Thunderbird.
You are the Thunderbird!
Yeah, but I see how mad you got because you're a worm. All right.
My worm was poisonous to the touch and shot electricity. I'm not gonna get over this. I'm not gonna get into this.
Bird versus the worm. Which do you think will win?
We're also going to be doing more stuff on our YouTube channel. I feel like I've already said this entire sentence.
Our YouTube's about to be popping, y'all. We're going to be doing reaction videos, a couple of dissertations. No, not really dissertations, but like analysis of different haunting episodes. We've talked about doing some over your favorite ghost hunting people, be they Dead Files or Ghost Hunters. Definitely not Ghost Adventurers. And then...
Definitely Ghost Adventurers.
I don't want to talk about Zach Gaggins and his ghost stick. But that laugh means we have to. But it's going to be a great season 5. I'm looking forward to it. 2023 is going to be a year of new episodes, new monsters, new hauntings, and new content. Season 5 is where it's going to be.
And if anybody has any ideas or anything they want us to cover, please send us an email, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. We're not on Twitter, but because
and
Twitter
we will not be on Twitter.
But yeah, please, if there's anything you want us to cover, let us know. We've decided to get rid of our Patreon for anyone who cares. So we do have a lot of stuff, exciting stuff coming. So please do check us out on anything else. But we just feel like right now Patreon is not where we want to focus our time. We want to focus time on other things. So if anyone subscribed to it or was thinking about it, don't do it. We're going to get rid of it. Just so everybody knows.
Find us on social media.
Yes, please.
Be on the lookout for my spooky TikToks.
Oh! I'm ready.
All right, everyone. Well, if you like what you hear, make sure you find us at Encounters the Podcast. We are on all of your basic podcasting platforms under Encounters a Paranormal Experience. If you got something to say, send it to our email at encountersapodcast@gmail.com. If you're feeling so kind, leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. And until next time, I am Dakota.
I'm Amanda.
Stay spooky.